I'm working on it. Hang on. Yeah. Hey. There we go. Okay. Let's get that. Good. All right, and I was gonna hang on. I'm super organized. Oh, ha ha! There we go. So hang on a second. I got a wrench to give out over here. There we go. Guessing the title is in relation to your Joker review. It's sort of basically like I've been in a bit of an adversarial mood, and part of that's the Joker review, I suspect. But I mean, on Saturday I was part of a burlesque show that was completely based around inclusivity and representation, and a lot of very powerful and emotionally draining numbers. So that kind of got me in a bit of a fighting mood too. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I may regret setting this up. Lovely scarf. Yes, I wish I could claim this. This I got off Etsy. This is my gender fluid scarf, which I'm quite fond of. Just wanted to say hi, but I'm seeing Joker in an hour. Well, I hope you get more out of it than I did. Hello from the Balkans. Ooh, that's a first. What's that in your water? Oh, I am having hot cider today. No additions. It's fall. It's warmed up cider season. And there's a cinnamon stick in there because that's how you do it properly. Hope nobody dies from this debate. I don't know, man. Mood I've been in lately. I'm not sure I want to make any promises. How are things? You know what? They're not bad overall. Things are okay. I'm just, like I said, I'm in a bit of a "those are fighting words" mood. So we'll see what results on that. Debate me, did your Joker review get people angry? Some of them. Not a ton. I don't think I ticked off that many people. I think at this point my reputation's pretty well established. So I think by now most people have a sense of what they're going to get when they come in. Daleks in Manhattan two-parter is really stupid, but it's really stupid fun. I enjoy the gossiping Daleks, and Tennant's performance is stellar. I wish that I could find the fun in the stupid. I have a hard time with that one. I'm really sorry. Stupid fun is a valid thing. I like G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra because it's stupid fun. So, I'm not immune to that. Just saying. Is it pumpkin spiced? No. You don't pumpkin spice a cider. No. Do that to your coffee if you're going to do it to anything. Forgot about this. In the middle... Oh, hang on. Lost it. Forgot about this. In the middle of Dark Crystal, when I remembered, hot cider's great, by the way. Fave season. Oh, yeah. Hot cider's wonderful. I saw eggnog last month. It is too early for eggnog. No. Cider, fine. It's perfect season. If you're into pumpkin spice, have that. It's not eggnog season yet. We got to get into November before you can start pulling eggnog on me. Once we're there, go nuts. I love eggnog. I saw pumpkin spice dog treats, to go figure. I'm pretty sure I saw those a while ago. Even when I disagree with you 40% of the time, I can very rarely say I think you're wrong. I'm always happy with that response. Hi, what do you think of Brexit? Oh, boy. Okay, I think I can safely say that regardless of whether you think it was a good idea or not, The execution and implementation of the thing, holy crap. I think it became very clear very quickly that the people who wanted it didn't really know how to get it besides just saying, give us Brexit, give us Brexit, give us Brexit. So I'm in a place where even if you think Brexit is a good idea, I don't know how anyone could look at what's gone on and go, this was a great way that we handled this process. It's too early for Christmas in general. Yes, it is. It's Halloween season. It's creepy season. Yeah, definitely too early for Christmas. I don't even celebrate it because I'm Jewish. I can only imagine that makes it rougher. The Ganger two-parter is severely underrated and a whole bunch of fun. Not really sure if you'll agree with or disagree, to be honest. I will agree with you. What is it? It's Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. That's a really underrated two-parter. I'm really looking forward to getting to it because I haven't rewatched it in a while, but it's good. It's really good. I gotta back up. Hellbent is as good as a standalone episode. Fight me. It would have to stand alone as not even being Doctor Who. If you're going to make it that degree of standalone, sure, it's fine. Within the context of Doctor Who as a show, not even specifically in the context of coming off the back of Heaven Sent and Face the Raven, no, it's not! If that thing is ever going to work at all, it needs to work completely in isolation away from anything Doctor Who. Because no. And yes, clearly I will fight you. I thought Amy's choice was weak the first time. Should I rewatch? I mean, I would say especially if you enjoy Amy and Rory's dynamic, give it another shot. If you don't, and you're not a particular fan of those characters, then no, you're probably not going to get anything more out of it on a second viewing. I've always liked that episode, and I appreciated it even more on the rewatch. Which Doctor do you think Donna would be best with other than 10? 12. I would love to see the two of them butt heads. So did Brexit actually happen? Not yet. Wasn't Brexit a few years ago? I'm in America, I don't read up. So the Brexit vote, the vote for Britain to leave the EU, the British exit, i.e. Brexit, that happened about 3 years ago, where they voted that was what they were going to do. It hasn't happened yet because they can't come to an agreement with the EU as to how it's going to happen. Or more specifically, the British government cannot come with an agreement in and of itself as to whether or not they will agree to the terms that the EU has set out. And if they can't come to terms with the EU, they just crash out. And it becomes a massive mess. There have been years of negotiations trying to avoid that scenario, and they've pushed back the deadline a few times trying to get it worked out, but there's not a lot to indicate that it's going to get sorted by the latest deadline, which is it this month or next month? It's coming up. It's soon. Again. Conjecture. Doctor Who would benefit from becoming a generic show that has multiple independent teams working on stories simultaneously, like each network having their version. That's an interesting proposal. My fear is that there is a fairly distinct overall flavor to Doctor Who, and that's actually a big part of why I stand by, however you want to cast the Doctor should be British from somewhere in those islands, because I think that's a big part of the specifically British flavor of the show. So if you want to do something like that, the one thing I would say is don't just send off a unit to work out of America. I, for one, don't want an American Doctor Who. But if they were to, I don't know, theoretically run in parallel, with different showrunners and a different overall approach to the storytelling, two Doctors at the same time. 11th over on this channel, and it's more of a swashbuckling adventure. 12th on this channel, and it's more of an extended character piece. 10 over on this channel, where it's more of a character drama. Maybe I would worry about overload with a scenario like that, though. Please don't talk about Brexit. I didn't bring it up. Don't come at me for that. Where was I? Let's see. Donna and 7 would be great. Okay, yeah, I could go for that. Thank you very much, Amanda. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see. I found Russell T Davies' approach to story arcs and continuity far more engaging. The thing is, I can make an argument. I agree, but I don't want it to sound like I don't like Moffat's approach. There were things Moffat did that I really did appreciate. And as much as he failed to completely shake off the mystery box overarching story, he did it less egregiously than Davies did, at least as far as the stuff that bugs me. So I appreciate that, but what I will tell you is I've been getting Liz into Doctor Who gradually and on a selective viewing basis. I'm not having her watch the whole thing. I'm picking the episodes she's going to watch. Once we hit Moffat, it's going to get a lot tougher because of the way he did overall season stories, which, broadly speaking, I prefer. It does mean that there are episodes that are plot essential in order to get what's going on for the season that otherwise, as far as the self-contained story that's going on in them, I would skip. So, like, quality of the episode, I'd skip it, but it's plot essential, so I need to decide, do I have her watch that? Do we skip it and I fill her in on the necessary details? That's sort of the risk you run when you stretch the story out more integrated into the narrative, is that you sometimes get the story tied to weaker episodes doing that. Boris Johnson can... Oh, okay. Ella, you got some feelings. So do you as an American keep up on world politics? Is it an interest for you? Do I keep up? No. I certainly don't claim to. I have a general sense of, like, some stuff. I catch bits and pieces. I'll listen to the radio driving to work, and I listen to NPR, which is National Public Radio, and they do actually broadcast BBC NewsHour at some point. So, I get bits and pieces of what's going on elsewhere, but I don't go out of my way to follow American news either. I actually really don't like the news. The news tends to depress me, but to some degree, I like it. There's only so much I can stick my head in the sand and pretend that stuff isn't going on. So, Pig slaves are wonderfully absurd. Let's be clear, folks. He's talking about the Daleks in Manhattan two-parter, in case anyone is missing context. Pineapple and pizza is an abomination. Debate me. I will not debate you because you are simply wrong. There is no debate to be had. Good day. So coming back, pig slaves are wonderfully absurd. If you can look past the accents, then the acting is good. That's a big thing to ask me to look past. Dalek Sec is really interesting and his death is impactful. Yes, but he looks awful. It's terrible. With those little friggin', they look like sex toys on the side of his head. Like, nah, dude, I'm sorry. And maybe you don't see that because I'm older than you and I'm a creepy old pervert, but whatever. The Daleks haven't truly been great since the Russell era. I'd actually agree on that because Moffat kind of chickened out on the Daleks after nobody went for the new paradigm. And we've gotten a fair number of Davros stories. I would argue we haven't had a Dalek story since... I guess Into the Dalek. Well, until Resolution. I actually did like Resolution. But, like, we haven't had a good Daleks as a group story in a long time. Because the last few we've had, Into the Dalek, Resolution, they have focused on a single Dalek. And that's not a bad thing. That works. But I feel like they've been doing that because they've lost the thread on them as a group, as a mass. Let's bring it back down. Victory of the Daleks is a good story. Victory of the Daleks is almost a good story. So, sorry. It's not bad. Like, I'm not going to argue you too much on that because I defend it more than a lot of people I know. I still think it's got a lot of issues, though. Pineapple pumpkin spice pizza flavored coffee. I'd try it. Yesterday, here's something hilarious. Someone compared Benioff, one of the Game of Thrones showrunners, to Cersei. Both are bad in planning and think that they are smarter than they are. Oh, dear. Sex toys of the Daleks. Oh, boy. And there goes the monetization. How would you respond to someone who says LGBT people acting on their feelings is akin to child predators acting on their feelings? Wow! Wow! Okay. And they say that both are backed by science. Okay. Both are backed by science insofar as there are links as far as how sexuality is treated. And honestly, so is the treatment of heterosexuals. So we're talking sexuality in general. And don't remove heterosexuality from that equation because heterosexuality behaves the same freaking way. So don't separate it out as if it's somehow different from everything else. So, first of all, the way the question is worded, I have a really big problem with because it implies that LGBTQ plus people, or actually more specifically the sexuality stripes of this, because we're not talking the gender end of it, that sexual minorities, you're linking them to pedophilia because the behavior of the sexuality, insofar as the desire that someone has, behaves in a similar way. Which, yes, that's true, but that's also true of heterosexuality, first of all. But the big, massive thing is children can't give consent. If you're a man and you want to be with a man and you're both adults, fine. You're a woman, you want to be with a woman, you're both adults. You're a man, you want to be with a man and a woman at the same time. You want to be with a trans person, you want to be with an asexual. You yourself are asexual, you want to be with non-binary. As long as everyone is an adult, fine. The comparison to pedophilia breaks down immediately when you are talking about the way in which people exhibiting their desires, you cannot compare them because one brings harm to another person by its nature, brings harm to the other party involved. And that is not to say that every single homosexual or heterosexual or bisexual or whatever representation is solid and wonderful and great. Harm can happen there, but as long as it's two adults, it's not harming by its nature. Now, I don't want you to think I'm mad at you because the way you worded the question did seem to imply you were more proposing something that someone else might ask, and I'm not taking it as granted that you yourself were asking that question. So I'm not mad at you. I am frustrated by the question, though. So, there we go. Oh, boy. Let's see. After all that, I gotta find where I was again. I started series 1, even though there's always been stuff going on. I think Aliens of London World War III holds up better, is more relevant now than when it came out. I mean, honestly, its political satire feels a lot less cartoonish than it used to. I'll give you that. And isn't that a depressing thought? By the way, Dark is an amazing show. You should try it. I've heard it, but I can never remember what it is. Like, the title's super generic. You gotta grant me that. To be fair, when I first watched Dogs in Manhattan, I was too young to even know what sex was. And once I got older, I was already interested in it enough that I didn't care. Fair. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? I vote yay. I like pineapple on pizza. Appropriately handled. Like, you don't just stick whole slices of pineapple. You chunk it, and it's balanced out. Here's the thing. People are like, pineapple on pizza is gross. Like, you don't just slap pineapple on pizza. You put pineapple on pizza with ham, with bacon, with flavors that balance it out. You don't just throw pineapple. There's an art to this. It's like any given spice. You don't just throw it onto anything. Would you care for some tea? Peter Davison is a solid doctor, hides in bushes. Here's the thing. I don't like, at this point, Peter Davison is my least favorite doctor, if I am allowed to take Big Finish into account. But it's not that I think he's bad, I just don't get him. Whatever it is other people see in his doctor, I'm just not seeing. I don't see anything bad, I just don't see what's good about him. So, I've just filed him under, I don't get it. So I don't actually get worked up about Davison. Now we're really getting demonetized, and I'm here for it. Oh, good. Thanks, Carolyn. I tried to watch Series 11 all the way back in April. I still need to finish the last couple of episodes. I mean, Series 11 is really uneven. I mean, that's the simple truth of it. Consent is everything. Oh, good. Nice agreement on that. It's always really bugged me when classic Daleks, Sek, and the Supreme Dalek showed up in The Witch's Familiar without any context or explanation as to why or how they were there. I don't remember seeing Sek in The Witch's Familiar. And the Supreme Dalek's just a rank, so it's not. I've always presumed that we're not always seeing the same one. You mentioned that you hate the "this is all part of my plan" villain trope. Yep. Did it bother you when Missy did it to Clara in Death in Heaven, or was it handled better there? I need to rewatch it, because to my memory, there wasn't a ton that she was directly manipulating, and that a lot of it was just her rolling with what was going on. That's my memory, though. I haven't rewatched Death in Heaven in a long time, so I need to watch that one again with an eye on that question, because off the top of my head, I don't remember how much of the plan that she is executing required highly detailed and specific execution over an unbelievably long period of time. And also, that said, like, it goes down slightly better with a Time Lord than others, although I still don't like it as a trope. I didn't know how to phrase my question better. My mom, who was the someone I was referring to, is a very traditional conservative Christian. It's... there are certain stripes of society who are very fond of directly comparing anything that isn't cisgender and heterosexual to the most extreme things possible, where there is a theoretical tiny sliver of a logical connection. So they will connect sexual preference minorities to, or sexual orientation minorities, not a preference, preferences are choices. I still stumble over the terms sometimes. They will link sexual orientation minorities to pedophilia, or they will link homosexuality to bestiality. And it's all an attempt to link in people's minds how two adult humans live with each other to something abominable. And they do that because the argument of two men being in love, or two women being in love, or non-binary people having relationships, or people being transgender, or whatever, there isn't actually a lot of substantive argument to be made against those actual things. So it's simply a rhetorical argument device to tie it to something so much worse. And to point to it and go, but see how it's like this thing that everyone agrees is terrible? But much like any slippery slope argument, it's a coward's argument, because you're no longer making an argument against the thing. You're making an argument against this other thing. So with slippery slope arguments, it's very similar. You don't argue against the thing that's going on now. You argue against the theoretical thing that happens much later as a result of what's going on now. And that's not to say slippery slope never works, but for slippery slope to be a valid argument, you have to be able to back it up, i.e., you have to be able to point to real-world examples where previously X led to Y led to Z. But if you can't cite precedent, then saying we can't allow this because it might lead to that, and that's awful, no. Because then you're arguing about something that doesn't even exist, as opposed to the thing that is actually at the heart of the debate. You know, like people's lives. I'm not partial to seeing human beings reduced to pawns on a chessboard, and I feel like that happens a lot in these debates. On all sides, to be clear. But a big part of how the debates happen in the first place is by not treating people as people. Treating them as a nebulous group. Treating them as the other, or as a sickness. Let's see. Whoop. Let me back up. Blink is overrated. I know for some people's taste it is. I still really like it. Do you like chicken pot pie? I need to be in the mood, but yes. I actually do. In 2008, an Israeli animated war documentary called Waltz with Bashir was released. It's one of my favorite animated films ever. You owe it to yourself to watch it. I have been meaning to watch that for a while. I still haven't seen it. I've seen the film he made after. I've seen The Congress, which was fascinating, but really weird. Really, really weird, that movie. And like very segmented. And oddly enough, I like the non-animated half better than the animated half with that one. Monty Python's Flying Circus turned 50 recently. Oh man. We're all getting old. Good Lord. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up. I'm well behind now because I've gotten off to some rants. Clearly, it takes you away as jumbled BS. Ooh, those are fighting words. I get why it takes you away isn't to everybody's liking, but for me, It Takes You Away bears a certain resemblance to things like A Wrinkle in Time and some elements of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the headier age of sci-fi, when it wasn't always about rocket ships, but about the expansion of the mind. And I miss that era of sci-fi a bit. And to a certain degree, that's even going on in 2001: A Space Odyssey, much as I don't actually like that movie. And I felt like that was evoking the more mindscape style science fiction that like I miss, and I got it so much with It Takes You Away. But if that's not your jam, I get why people don't like it, but like I love it. I love that episode to death. Love it. Would you like to see a Spider-Verse style Batman Joker comic or animated film where every main live action and animated Batman and Joker duke it out? I mean, that's the kind of thing I feel like I'd like to see as a 20-minute short. I'm not sure I'd care for a feature length out of that. Be fun for a lark. How would you describe the song American Pie? Um, oh God, I don't even know. Like, I'm not a good person to ask to describe music anyway, because I don't know the vocabulary to describe it properly. Describe, describe it properly. I'll have another drink. This is going well. But I mean, I think of that song and I just think about cast parties in high school, where the director, you know, he bust out the guitar and that would be one of the things he would sing, and not everyone would sing the verses, but everyone would come in at the chorus every time. It's very much that kind of group. You know, you just feel like, you know, at the lighters, woo, kind of. It's a unifying kind of song. It makes you. It just kind of makes you warm. Have you seen Towns of Weng Chiang? What did you think? I haven't seen that one yet. I'll hopefully get to that on the Classic Who review now that I've actually got that up and running. Have you heard of the radio series Nebulous? Nope. I haven't heard of most radio series. I don't listen to a lot of radio shows. It's a parody of classic sci-fi, including Doctor Who, starring Mark Gatiss. I'd be curious to check it out. I've liked a lot of Mark Gatiss's work that hasn't been on Doctor Who, or at least not writing. I actually think he's been good as an actor, but his writing on Doctor Who has not done a lot for me. But I've liked a lot of what I've seen from him elsewhere, so it's funny. Although, like, to be fair, Adventure in Time and Space, he wrote that, and that was great. So, of the dangling plot threads, is Face of Bo kind of left in a weird state and never felt resolved? I don't know why people get hung up on that. Like, what is unresolved? The guy's life has a loop, it has an endpoint. We know what it is. I mean, aside from if you need exactly every detail about how we eventually get to Bo, then maybe you're left up. But like, I'm just not that kind of viewer. I don't need to know. I'll take it as read. So for me, that's not a dangling plot thread. I'm gonna say it. I don't think the female Doctor worked because the Doctor has a naturally male vibe, I guess. Jodie is doing her best, but I don't think the Doctor's female. This comes from a femme. No, I'm not going to agree because she is working for me at this point. It took a while, but as I've said, Capaldi took me a while also, and he's my favorite at this point. So I'm not finalizing my opinion on Whittaker until her era's over. When she's done, when she bows out, I'll feel more comfortable even assessing that statement. Thoughts of Maisie Williams' characters throughout season 9. Liked her in the second one she appeared in, The Woman Who Lived. The rest of them, she was just kind of there. I shipped 13 and River. That would be kind of cool to see, I'm not going to lie. Check the Discord. Oh, yeah, I do need to get over there. Just give me a second. Did you know the Fight Club is turning 20? Yeah, I did. Sorry, let me back up. Wow, I am behind. Holy cow. Okay, I do have to hop over to the Discord for a minute. I will be right back. Because as a reminder, the Discord, which is a Patreon perk, there is a channel for asking questions that will get answered on the live stream. I won't end up missing them. I don't know if I'll make it or not. This could get messy. Actually, not much there to work with this time. Oh, unicorn socks versus mittens. Which is cuter? Whichever you pick, you're wrong, and I'll happily explain why. Depends on the age of the person wearing them. On an adult, socks are cuter. On a kid, mittens are cuter. Also, depends on the design of the unicorn. That's me overqualifying my statements. Missy claimed that she brought Clara and the Doctor together so Clara would be an influence on the Doctor and make him look for an afterlife and find 3W after losing Danny. Again, like I need to see it. I need to see it again and get full context on it. Because a big thing with Missy, like you remember the whole thing, the doctor lies? Missy lies a lot, like even for the master. I thought your review of Joker was spot on, best one I've seen yet. Well, thank you, Gabe. Much appreciated. Made way to much mac and cheese. Anyone want some? Oh, Donna, you are speaking my language. Homemade mac and cheese. That's my favorite food ever. Let's see here. Ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any similar tabletop? Yeah, I've been part of a gaming group. It kind of fell apart when the guy who hosted it had a kid, and now he just had a second one. So I don't know when I'm ever going to get to do it again. But I enjoy it. We live in a society. Debate me. Oh, the piercing insight of your observation leaves me stunned and unable to respond. My God, we do live in a society. I'll just pack it all in now. It's done, isn't it? Dumbledore is meant to love Grindelwald. A gay relationship is fine with me, except Grindelwald is made out to be an absolute despot. Should romanticizing that really be encouraged? I don't think, at least as presented so far, the narrative isn't romanticizing him. Dumbledore having romantic feelings toward him is not the same as the story actually romanticizing him as a character or his views. So I'm going to make a distinction there, and I don't believe that it does what you're implying that it does. It's still not a good movie, regardless. What are we debating? Whatever comes up. Thanks for your Curse of Fenric review. You finally pinned down what was bugging me about it, even though I found the ending really effective. Oh, I'm happy to have helped, Ben. I always have mixed feelings when people are like, oh, you explained the thing that always bugged me about this movie. Like, I feel slightly validated, but also then I'm like, oh God, am I just spreading my cynicism like a disease? Star Wars is Diet Dune. Debate me. Only on Tatooine is it Diet Dune. Tatooine is Diet Dune, though. I will give you that. Rest of Star Wars, no. But that, yeah. Thoughts on Trisha Paytas saying she is transgendered? I don't know who that is. I know it's some sort of YouTube drama, but like, you want to talk about something I'm happy to stick my head in the sand over? YouTube drama. I don't care. And one day I hope to live in a world where nobody cares. Nobody cares. Sadly, we don't live in that world yet, but you know, maybe one day. I was looking at Endgame reviews, and one said, "This is a disgrace. There is a gay person and goes against the Bible." Ugh. I will never understand the idea of acknowledging that something exists makes the art that acknowledge that bad. Like, I don't get that. I never will. Apparently, we might get a teaser trailer for Series 12 on the 13th of October. Well, if it does, I'm going to have to cram it into my schedule, but we'll see. It takes you away so Douglas Adams, and I love it. The mind is everything for me in sci-fi and horror. Psychological horror and heady sci-fi are fantastic. I agree. As it is National Coming Out Day, I hope to come out to my family. My worry isn't that they won't expect me, because I know they will. I just don't want a big fuss. I mean, like, people can overcompensate in the other direction. Like, they turn it into a huge celebration, and it's like, no, I just wanted you to know, that was all. So, but, I mean, best of luck in any case. Have you seen TMNT versus Batman yet? No. I'm like 4 or 5 animated DC things behind at this point. I'm behind on a lot. I'm really trying to catch up. I sometimes enjoy the mind screw sci-fi, but it felt really, really underdeveloped, directionless, and plotless, not in a fun way, in an irritating way. Again, like, I just don't agree. I love it. What past villain would you like to see 13 face? I mean, I'll say Omega, because I always say Omega. Just leave it at that. I know you haven't seen it, but the way Class ended was interesting and had big implications. Second season would have been interesting. Please watch Class. Create more time. Give me more hours in a day. Or get me to the point where this is my living and I don't have to work 40 hours a week in an office. When one of those things happen, I will have the time to look at Class. I think it's because we didn't really learn anything about Face of Bo in the end, not really. But I mean, like, what would you need to learn? I guess that's what I don't get. What is there to learn? You found out what the Face of Bo is. You know, through Jack's line, it's implied that that's just eventually what's going to happen. What else is there to know? I guess that's what I've never understood. I don't know what else there is to actually know. Class is ass. Oh, bold. Will you watch Batwoman? Ruby Rose and Kate Kane are queens. Episode 1 was good. We'll have to see how it goes. I mean, I'm going to try to watch it, but I'm not catching it as it airs. Like I said, I'm buried in too much stuff. Hang on. I'm getting there. Maybe. Oh my God. I'm behind. I'm as behind on the chat as I am with literally everything. My favorite 80s song is Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution. It's the most emotionally impactful song I've heard from the decade. Please tell me you've listened to it. I've heard it. I mean, it's not my jam, but I've heard it, yeah. I don't dislike it. Let me be clear on that. Prince never did a lot for me. Again, I don't think he's bad. I just didn't connect with him the way most people I know did. How do you play Dungeons and Dragons? What do I need to start? How many people? I don't think any one of my friends will want to play. Honestly, Andrew, you need to find a gaming group. You need to find an existing gaming group that will let you join. Because if you've never done it before and you're trying to start the entire thing out from scratch, it's going to bomb. It's going to bomb bad. Spike from Buffy as the Doctor's companion. Well, you could just bring back Captain John Hart. It'd be like having Spike. I love Fantastic Beasts because finally we get a Hufflepuff lead character, and I love that he's not your typical leading man. Newt himself has grown on me as a character, and I am more than due to rewatch Fantastic Beasts, the first one, to see if I like it any better. I'm sorry though, Crimes of Grindelwald is a mess. It is a mess of a film. Debate me. Being a human being should be punishable by death because all humans are inferior by default. Exterminate! Exterminate! I mean, how can you even argue with that? Let's see. Why don't you create a ranking for every actor to play the Doctor? That way you can include the others to play the first Doctor, and maybe even Peter Cushing or the Curse of the Fatal Death Doctors. I mean, I've done rankings. I've done 2 rankings of the Doctors. It didn't include 13, and it was only the canon Doctors. So it didn't include Curse of the Fatal Death or Peter Cushing or the Scream of the Shalka Doctor either. Like, what do you mean? Why don't I create a ranking? I've done it twice. Go back to the channel. Have you ever considered doing PayPal commission reviews? I've actually taken one. I haven't gotten to it yet. So like I had someone who reached out to me that because of the way Patreon worked, didn't want to do it through there, but still wanted to commission me for a review. And I let them do that at the same rate as it would have been through the Patreon. So I have done that. I would prefer to do it to the Patreon just because it's easier for me to keep track of it if everything's coming through the same source. But I've done it. Did you see Batwoman? Not yet. What about heterophobic people? Yes, and what about Sasquatches and centaurs and unicorns? I don't even know what to do with that statement. I don't know if it was serious or not. I love TMNT versus Batman. The clips I've seen make it look very fun. Okay, come on. This dang chat. It gets to where I want and then it jumps down to the bottom. Hey. The best reasonable / non-omnipotent superpower ability is duplication. Fight me. Depends on what you're ranking as best. Like, best as in most effective, best as in most difficult to counter in combat. I mean, like, what's the metric? Would it be what I choose? No. Shape-shifting. Always. Every day. Twice on Sunday. But, like, you can't just say that a superpower is best if you don't say what metric we're running that through. Define your terms, my friend. Sure, let me drop $100,000 just so you can watch class. I think you'll need some kind of ultimate Patreon tier for that, though. Like, well, first of all, I don't need $100,000 to be able to quit my job. But, you know, if somebody wanted to support me at that level, I wouldn't stop you. I would wonder if you're trying to launder drug money, though. Okay, is anyone else going to watch El Camino, the Breaking Bad sequel? I might. I keep forgetting it's coming out. More She-Ra comes out next month. I know that's happening. Excited for that. Thoughts on the Supreme Court session? I'll have thoughts once they hand down a decision. Until then, I'm actually going out of my way to not think about it because I don't want to stress myself out. And that's what I'll end up doing if I think about it, you know, while it's going on. Because at this point, nothing I think about is going to change what's going on. And, you know, I just got to wait to hear what the decisions are. If anyone doesn't know, there are a number of LGBTQ plus rights related cases that are in the Supreme Court right now in the session currently going, which means there will theoretically be a ruling on them, which has the potential to be either a huge leap forward or a massive step back for LGBTQ plus protections under the law. And let me be super clear. This is not special rights. This is not special treatment. This is this is guaranteeing the rights that literally all the rest of y'all have. So I gotta wait. The face of Bo died. Captain Jack is immortal. It's a glaring plot hole. It's not a plot. Oh my God. Okay, look. First of all, anyone who doesn't know, all right, spoiler. Jack Harkness is face of Bo. We all know that, right? Right. Okay, look. We don't know how many cycles through the entire history of the freaking universe it takes before he ends up as the face of Bo. Now, as far as what the doctor said, he said that Jack is a fixed point in time. He is always there. By the time he dies as the face of Bo, is he really even Jack anymore? So there's your nice little loophole to get out of it. Just if you're going to be pedantic about it, if you're going to make it this, they said immortal and then he died. The doctor said he was immortal because that was the best that the doctor understood it at the time he said it. He didn't know exactly what was going on. If he knew exactly what was going to happen, he could have known that the face of Bo is what Jack was going to become way before Jack said anything. He didn't know. He said immortal because it was the word he had that expressed the idea. The doctor didn't truly know what was going on with Jack. The doctor's not omnipotent. He doesn't know everything. He expressed it the best way he could. Yes, he died. Which means, oh my god, the doctor's wrong. Heaven for friggin' bid. How do you feel about Disney Sony sticking Spider-Man 3 in the middle of the 2021 lineup? It feels a little soon. I can't remember what it's going alongside now, so I'm not sure. What would you do if a meth tweaker tried to mug you? I have absolutely no clue. Like, I'm not even gonna like pretend or be fun with it. I have zero idea what I would do. Watching Eddie Redmayne on the big screen in 2016 was what led me to realizing my bisexuality. Newt Scamander is amazing. Wow, that's a cute little self-discovery story. Nice. And there goes the chat getting away from me again. Favorite She-Ra ship? I don't have one because I want Scorpia to be happy. I want that so bad, but I also know that Catra is awful for her. Well, Catra's awful for everybody, but I want Scorpia to be happy so bad. Like, I want her to find someone other than Catra. That's what I want. A ship that doesn't exist yet. All right. Am I getting mildly caught up? Kind of, sort of, almost. Why do you think they never do anything with the idea of Nissa's father's body being possessed by the Master during Davidson's era? Really bugs the hell out of me. Because it wasn't an idea they actually had any intention to do anything with. All it was an excuse to get the Master out of the burn makeup. That's literally all that it was. It wasn't done because they had some big plan for new ideas. Like, no, we want to put the Master in a non-crisp body. And that's how they did it. And then they moved on. I just want to say I consider you a hero and your videos have helped me get through some tough times. I don't get excessively bullied, but I have next to no friends. Thank you for that. Oh, jeez. Thank you for that. God. I'm glad it helps. Like, I don't talk about this a ton because it seems massively egotistical, but I get correspondence like that every now and then through email, in chats, and comments. You know, people saying that my videos or hearing my voice or even the live streams have helped them through tough times, and I am always deeply, deeply moved by that. And I feel like a moron because I never know how to respond other than to say thank you and I'm touched, which is true, but feels wholly inadequate. You people warm my heart. You really do. Dark Water is the best Cyberman reveal. Agree or disagree? Of modern era, yes, definitely agree. Classic era, I would actually say that Earthshock is probably, and that was largely because they hadn't been seen for ages. Come on, you dang thing. Managed to smudge my glasses. Nicely done. You moron! Me, myself, not calling anyone else a moron. I try not to call other people stupid. I reserve that for myself and for fictional characters. There we go. Who's the better duo, Abbott and Costello or Laurel and Hardy? I'm going to say Abbott and Costello, but that's because I'm partial to really rapid-fire wordplay, whereas Laurel and Hardy were a bit more slapstick, which is still good, but like I don't love it as much. You should pop up in one of Passion of the Nerds videos. I'd be happy to. I love his work. And like we're in touch, like loosely. We're aware of each other, but I think part of the thing is we both have pretty well laid out plans and schedules for what we're working on, and don't cross over a ton. And like there aren't like a ton of, so like, what would I bring him on to talk about? Buffy, Firefly, Angel? He'd just bury me because he's more well studied on it than I am. Me going on any of his stuff would interrupt the flow of what he does. I'd love to do something with the guy. Like, seriously, I don't know what it would be though. Is it okay to be Hogwarts house ambivalent? Yes. Yeah. Liz is a bit sometimes. Like, you press her hard, she'll say Ravenclaw, but she has some degree of connection with, well, basically every house except Gryffindor. And she's always the one to say, well, they need a WTF house. I guess Hufflepuff sort of is the place where whoever doesn't fit in the other three goes. But Huffle does have really its own distinct personality that I don't think always gets its due. But she's always quick to say there needs to be a WTF house where everyone else goes. Or, as John Barrowman would say, Gryffindor. For all the misfits who don't belong anywhere else, all are welcome. And that from the man's own lips. Duplication is practically the best. Sorry, should have made that clear. You can get so much done, schoolwork, go outside, do stuff out in the world, get more sleep, all in a day. Well, yeah. So, John, if you're using duplication basically the way Multiple Man does it, where you can duplicate but then take the duplicate back and have all the experiences that they had, then yeah, if it's going to work that way, that is a very super practical power. Sometimes it's better not to ask questions and just let who do who. I would actually agree on that. Yes. Yes, I would. Well said, Charleston. I have no idea who Bo or Jack are. Bojack? No. Have you seen the new Birds of Prey trailer? Yeah. I saw one last week. If a new one came out, I haven't seen that. It just... Let's see. Okay, am I actually kind of caught up? Ah! Dang it, I'm really not. Wow. All right, I am not going to get to all the questions. I am sorry, folks. I am not catching up. The color of your jumper and its pattern makes it look inspired by Black Panther. Oh. Huh. It's always weird hearing it called a jumper because that seems to be the British term for just a sweater. Whereas here, jumper is a different kind of piece of clothing. Scorpio plus anyone else. Yeah. Throw in. Yeah, pretty much. Having watched Keeper of Traken live at the time as a kid, just right. Cool. What would you want the Sandman to function like? Are we talking about the TV show? I want it to not be about the character. I want it to be about stories, which is ultimately what the comic was about. That's a story about stories, and I love that. 2021 MCU is Shang-Chi and Legends of the Ten Rings, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man 3, and then Thor, Love and Thunder. That's not counting Disney Plus shows. Well, yeah, you need to treat the shows as their own thing. I think the vibe on each of those three is going to be different, or each of those four, rather. It's going to be different enough from each other that I'm not too worried about that. Come on, you dang thing. Given how dark mind control has been depicted in other media, Harry Potter, Jessica Jones, do you think the Master should re-embrace it in their next incarnation? If they're gonna bring back the Master having the mind control thing as like their deal, they need to really delve into it more, because that was honestly one of the traits that I always thought was a little bit cheesy about classic era Master, and they need to really dig into it, like kind of like the way Jessica Jones did, like really dig into how that messes with people, because otherwise it's just kind of a cheap gimmick. That said, if they wanted to do something like that, I'd be on board. Never discount what you do. It may not always seem like it on the surface, but it's important in ways you may not know. Thank you, Maureen. Are you looking forward to Birds of Prey, the movie? I would like it to be good. I don't think it's going to be. Whatever you think about yourself, what you have to say to us is never inadequate. Thanks. Who's on first? Yeah. Can a person disagree with the identification of someone else in their sex or gender without invalidating their humanity? Ugh. That's a good question. Because we can't mandate belief. Or at least we shouldn't mandate belief. But at the same time, I've said before, and I stand by, that if someone's stance is that gay or lesbian or non-binary, agender, transgender, whatever, is simply not real, you can't really say live and let live with that position, because their position is just no. There isn't a middle ground to be had there. That being said, I think the one area where there is room for lack of a better term, compromise, is that it's the point at which belief leads to action. So what I mean by that is, so I live in Vermont, and one of the reasons I live here is there is a very Vermont mentality, which is what you do is none of my business, and what I think about what you do isn't any of your business. And that might sound cold and standoffish, but it's just that it doesn't enter into daily interactions around here. Like, I've had lawnmowers lent to me by neighbors that I don't even know their names. And I'm not really friends with them. They don't know me, I don't know them, but they're like, oh, you need a hand, here. And I do think there's a reason that Vermont was the first state in the country to have civil unions. Not legal gay marriage, that was Massachusetts, but that was later. Like civil unions, any kind of legal recognition of same-sex couples. I think there's a reason that happened in Vermont, because it's a very, look, what you are doesn't affect me. I don't get it. Maybe I don't even like it. But it's got nothing to do with me. And if acceptance is impossible, because as much as I wish it wasn't the case, sometimes it is. Sometimes, for whatever reason, acceptance is not on the table. If it can be a matter of, I don't believe that what you are is okay or valid, but if you're not saying that directly to a person's face, if you're not shouting at them in the street, then you can disagree with what they are telling you they are without actively working to take away their humanity. That you can do. I'm personally not going to say that that will make me comfortable with someone. If someone thinks I'm invalid, or that I'm sick, or I need Jesus, which that one really ticks me off. You don't know my relationship with God. Piss off. But, you know, someone who believes those things, you know, I can't change that, but I'd like to think common courtesy would have them not getting in my face to tell me that. You know. See how many more we're going to take on. Would you say you're more male-leaning or female-leaning? Dude, I'm all over the place. Like, for real. I don't even really gauge it much anymore. I land wherever I land for the day. And sometimes it's more feminine, sometimes it's more masculine. I'm not tracking it. I don't have a you know, a dot matrix and a flow chart. Because right now I'm comfortable with me, however I happen to be. I'm good. That's kind of enough. Which Doctor companion would you swap into City of Death, not considering plot tweaks or characterization? Ooh. I think City of Death, where 11 took Amy and Rory to Paris as a romantic honeymoon thing, would be interesting. How would you feel about a Joker sequel, or at least Phoenix playing the Joker again, possibly opposite Batman? I actually don't think that Joker that he did is going to work opposite of Batman. I think he actually works much better in isolation. Considering it's autumn, there is an insane amount of pumpkin-flavored food and beverages. Have we gone too far in our creations with all these orange gourds? I mean, maybe a little. It'll balance, though. I'll tell you what we have gone too far with something that I actually like, but I'm now kind of sick of. And that's salted caramel. I love salted caramel, but they started putting it in everything, and I'm just kind of done. I'm not a geek. Okay. Welcome anyways. Flying muffin. Ah, there it is. Which classic and new Doctor pairing do you want to see the most? 1 and 12 have been done. Forget about deceased actors and age. 2 and 10. I think Troutman would really annoy Tennant. What do you think it would take to get Eccleston to return as 9? I'd love to see it, but as you said, he doesn't owe us anything. I don't know what it would take. Only he could answer that. I would like to see him come back. I do agree with that. I just question why it was against the law in the beginning. Are we talking about the gay marriage thing? It's not that it was against the law, it's that it wasn't codified in the law. Because whenever you're talking about law, you can be talking about one of two things. There is criminalization, and there's legalization, and there's decriminalization. So certain parts of the country actually had laws against sodomy. Some of those laws were even still in the books until a few years ago. And why? Because religiously driven moral imperatives. That's why. But it wasn't so much that, I mean, until gay people started going, hey, we would like to get married, no one had actually put on the books a law banning it. It's just nothing allowed it either. So it was one of those nebulous things that had to be worked out in the courts, and it was. How do you feel about storylines that deal with Nazis and Nazi-inspired groups? Because I'm really, really uncomfortable with something like Hydra and Crisis on Earth X. I have much more mixed feelings than I used to about that sort of thing. Especially since, without pointing fingers as to who qualifies, like, Nazis are kind of back. And, like, even setting aside, oh, people just call you a Nazi. No, like, there are literal Nazis. There are literally Nazis that are, like, having marches and rallies. And in the wake of that, the trivialization of them through entertainment does get to me in a way that it didn't used to. Not so much that I'm like, I don't want any part of it, but it's not as clean cut as it used to be, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I feel like the way I feel about that is evolving and isn't done doing so. Favorite Doctor's theme from New Who? I prefer the 12th Doctor's. A Good Man is the name of the track. Ooh, I think I might be something close to caught up. I watched The Dark Knight Rises recently. I quite liked it, but I don't see why Gotham Season 5 had to do the same shtick. I know, right? Gotham was many things. It was not derivative up until that 5th season. I do not know what was going on with that. That City of Death swap would be amazing. Oh, thank you. Not bad for off the top of my head. And yet there are not pumpkin Oreos. Seriously, how? I'm not even sure what to think about that. Why doesn't Eccleston want to come back to Doctor Who? A litany of reasons. He left on bad terms because of clashes with both the BBC as an entity and also some of the people who were working behind the scenes at the time. And also it has come out recently that he was anorexic at the time, which lends it a whole other level of going back to that space and re-inhabiting that character that he played when he was sick. With something that he's tried to get a grip on since then, that's asking a lot of somebody. But, I mean, he hasn't really said flat out, I won't come back because of X. We just sort of know a confluence of a lot of the stuff that's gone on over the years. He seems to be easing up. He started doing conventions. Like, for my money, maybe he'll do a big finish first, and that'll be a stepping stone. But, I mean, who knows? 2 and 10 would be intriguing, possibly very funny. 2 and 11 would be amazing. I think 2 and 11 are too similar. I actually don't think there'd be a ton of mileage on that. Come on. I am going to wrap up soon. I've gone over time. I have almost caught up here. Without diving into religions, did you hear that VeggieTales is getting rebooted again? Rebooted again? I didn't know it had ever been rebooted in the first place. Not something I've ever watched. I'm aware of it. I've heard of it. I know what it is. But that's it. You dabble in cosplay, right? Have you ever dealt with prosthetics like demon horns and the like? I don't do prosthetics. I'm not that good with makeup. I've been a testing ground for someone else to work out prosthetics with my daughter's mother, because she does theater and she has had to learn some elaborate makeups to do that. I was her test to work on a bullet hole injury in the forehead. So I've had like stuff done to me, but I can't do any of it myself. So I don't dabble in prosthetics. But the closest I've got vampire fangs that are molded to my teeth. But that's about as close as I get. I hope that if the illness is a big factor in returning, that he could approach the role with a refreshed mind and state. I mean, that would be lovely. But again, I don't want to tumble too far down the rabbit hole of, what would it be like if Eccleston came back or whatever? Because I mean, I've said it before. There's only so much of sort of the dream casting, maybe this thing. Like my brain just kind of stops me. Like, it's probably not going to happen, and then like I can't. It's hard for me to force myself to even let my brain go down that path. If you could delete any Doctor Who episode from the canon, which would it be? Hellbent, probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know for me that's like the boring, obvious answer, but it's true. Oh, that's good. Silence of the Lambs, A Clockwork Orange, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest are better Joker films than Joker. You can drop Taxi Driver on that as well. It's practically the same movie. Gotta go. Good night. Remember, you and everyone else are the council. I just attend the meetings. Thanks, Ben. I am gonna wrap up. Do you have any thoughts on the use of the common autistic traits in the characterization of the Doctor and other similar characters? I don't, because I don't know enough about the autism spectrum. And I haven't done enough research into the use of those characterizations and traits to have a say. Like, I acknowledge that they are there to a certain degree, and one could even say that the Doctor has at times been neuroatypically coded, but I do not know enough about any of that, about neuroatypical behavior in the first place, and about the representation of such. I got no business saying anything. Thoughts on Heaven Sent? Heaven Sent's amazing. Good night. Love you and your work. Keep it up. Thanks a lot. What's your favorite film of 2019 so far? My favorite film of 2019 so far is the Lego Movie 2. Think on that one for a bit. So I have a good background and an iPhone. I want to start a YouTube channel doing scripted 15 to 20 minute things, diving into specific aspects of a piece of media, but I don't have a topic to talk about. Thoughts? I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do it on, because you have to pick something that is of interest of you. Because if you pick something like, oh, I should do that, you turn it into work, and then it's not fun, and then you don't keep up with it. So, I mean, just get a piece of paper, start writing down ideas. Start writing down things that you like, that you have thoughts on. Movies, TV shows, video games, whatever. Things like, oh, this, and just look at the options and just see what thoughts come to you. See if any of them are something you can build on. Add fake lasers to the mix. Well said, Channel Pup. Mysterio and Buzz Lightyear need to hang out in their green and purple outfits, round heads, and delusions. All right. Excited for Star Wars? Nope, nervous. So I am. Wear your glasses out upside down for the rest of the stream? Sure, but only insofar as I'm wrapping it up right now. So, no, I'm not actually going to keep doing that, because I see myself, I'm like, that just looks too damn stupid. But I hope that everyone has a good night. Hope that you've had a good week so far, that you have a good rest of the week. And just remember, you are beautiful. You are valid. You are loved. You are the council. I just run the meetings. And till next time, this council is adjourned. Good night, everybody.